the meeting to order. Oh, sorry. Start over again. Welcome, everybody. It's April 14th, Property Committee meeting. We have a call to the can I have an approval of the agenda? May I have that motion?
Just a note, I'd like to let the record show that the agenda needs to be amended to say that the minutes are of March 10th, 2026. The agenda says February. Just that will be changed when we publish.
Yeah.
Maybe I could make one more suggestion there, Mr. Chairman. The year-to-date expenses property committee for March the 31st, not March the 10th.
March 31st. Okay, thank you. Anything else? We have the first and second already, which is Rose and Richard. We already addressed any additions, changes, or omissions. Any opposed? Hearing none. Declaration of peculiar interest. Seeing none. Approval of minutes of last meeting, February 10th, 26. May I have a motion to approve the minutes? Linda?
I'll second them at March the 10th.
March 10th.
Yeah, second and Richard. March the 10th. Any comments, questions?
One, Mr. Chair, do we have any idea when we'll get the staff review on the FOMO request? Or
That might be a Denise question. Denise?
Yeah, unfortunately, I haven't had time to complete that review yet. It is on my list. I apologize.
Okay, thank you.
thank you.
Anyone else? Any opposed? That is something heard. Tonight we have a delegation list that's been longer waited. Representatives here from Vale Ridge is pertaining to our roads department. So I'll give you the floor. Normally it's 10 minutes, but this is a pretty big project, so it's nice to do more.
Thank you, Chair. I should just share my screen here, so bear with me for a long moment. All right, here we go. So thank you. I want to first of all thank the Property Committee for having us here today. My name is Maxine Vett. I'm an architect at J.L. Richards and Associate and the project manager for this project. And I'm joined by Bradley Bonzel, intern architect at J.L. Richards. So we were engaged by the municipality to prepare a concept design report, 30% construction documents, and a cost estimate for a new public works garage at 7 Lakeshore Drive. We're about halfway through that process now. We've completed the concept design report, which you would have seen in your package, as well as a Class C cost estimate, which we'll go through today during our presentation. So the purpose of today is to provide you with a status update and to go through that costing. During the project, we worked closely with Ron from the roads department, Dave from the maintenance department, and Rose, Adam, Denise, and Raymond. So throughout the presentation too, we'll discuss some key feasibility considerations which were brought up in the report. So we're hoping to keep the presentation at around 10 minutes, then happy to field any questions. There we go. Have the agenda for the presentation up on the screen. So we'll do a quick project overview, an overview of the design concept, the floor plan and the elevation. Run through the site plan and site constraints, and then go through feasibility considerations, which include a firewall and servicing. And then go through the cost estimate, the Class C OPCC, and do a comparison of pre-engineered versus traditional steel construction, which we propose in this building. And then finally, next steps.
So for project overview, this project replaces the existing public works garage located on 7 Lakeshore Road, which is at the end of its functional life. No longer meets today's operational or safety needs. A building condition assessment done by Tulloch Engineering identified major issues including structural, building code, and spatial deficiencies, which make it unsuitable for modern operations long term. While short-term fixes are in place, Tulloch has confirmed that the facility would need to be taken out of service by the end of next year, 2027. Because of this, the question is not whether a new building is needed. The discussion is about what the building should be, what it will cost, and what options are still available. As Max mentioned, work completed so far includes a feasibility level design, a concept design report, and a Class C cost estimate to support this discussion today.
All right, so up on the screen here, we have the latest floor plan for the facility. We determined the space requirements in close consultation with the project team and mainly with Ron and Dave from the roads and the parks maintenance departments. So on the top right of the floor plan there, we have the administration block. The building is divided into three main portions: administration, maintenance, and roads department. In the administration corner, we have a combined lunchroom, training room, offices, washrooms, mechanical rental room. The maintenance bays on the bottom right in green are currently right-sized to fit the current operations, as well as a little bit of space for future expandability. The blue area shows the roads department work bays. So there's 3 drive-through work bays. The original plan had considered 6 drive-through work bays, and that would allow for ample space for current and future needs. Early consultations with Adam and Vaughn, it was determined that having 6 work bays would increase the construction costs past the allowable construction budget that was discussed. So 3 of those work bays have been eliminated, and we're showing only 3 drive-through work bays right now. This is just enough space, and even then it'll be tight to fit the current roads operations. But we've planned the building so that we can expand in the future with 2 other drive-through work bays, which we'll run through in the site plan right now.
So yeah, this is the site constraints and opportunities. The site strongly influenced how the building is laid out and how it will operate on the day-to-day. It's already zoned industrial, so proposed public works garage complies with all zoning requirements and setbacks, so no amendments are needed there. A key constraint is that the existing public works garage, it's highlighted right around here, the dash line, must remain operational during the construction. So this drove the building location, traffic flow, and construction phasing to avoid service disruptions. I'm sure, like on a day like today, you definitely don't want service disruptions when the roads are flooding. The site has shallow bedrock, which is good for foundations, but affects grading and drainage. Vehicle circulation has been designed to safely handle large municipal vehicles. You can kind of see the traffic flow in the plan there, represented by those dash lines. With all those granular stockpiles near the back of the site, and you can see how it flows into those drive-through work bays for the roads department. Another thing is the site's been intentionally designed to keep roads, maintenance, and administrative areas clearly separated. This for functional purposes, but also for safety concerns as well, highlighted during our many workshop meetings. The site is also large enough to allow for future expansion with the building and circulation plans, so additional bays can be added later without major disruption. That's represented by the dash line to the west of the proposed building location, accounting for 2 extra work bays, 2 extra drive-through work bays.
So up on the screen now, we have the main building elevation on the top. So that'll be the front of the building, as well as a section cut through the building on the bottom of the slide. So I want to take a moment to talk about feasibility consideration of adding a firewall in the building. The current building right now is under 1,500 square meters, which per the Ontario Building Code does not require sprinklers. However, if we did expand in the future to include 2 work bays, we've reviewed the feasibility of adding a firewall along Ring Line 5, which would effectively, from a code perspective, divide the buildings into 2 and not require sprinklering of the building. There's a few other feasibility considerations and cost considerations that we're reviewing at the same time, and most of these are linked to the servicing of the site and the requirement for on-site power water storage, as well as the capacity for water to provide sprinklers for the building. So that's something that we're still reviewing with the project team.
So to that point, servicing considerations, before reviewing the cost estimate, it's important to understand that the servicing strategy for the site. It's not currently serviced with municipal water or sanitary sewer. So the current estimate assumes on-site fire water storage and a new septic system. These are significant cost drivers, not only in terms of capital costs, but also in the amount of site area required for tanks, pumping equipment, and the septic bed. These are all included as part of that Class C estimate. As an alternative, the report also considers extending the municipal water and sanitary services to the site, with the nearest mains about 700 meters away. This could eliminate the need for the on-site fire water and septic infrastructure, which frees up usable site area, reduces long-term operational risks, and better supports for future expansion. Preliminary review suggests these costs may be comparable when compared to the on-site strategies, but with flexibility long term. These servicing assumptions are a key reason the estimate looks the way it does and represents the decision still to be made in these comments.
Yeah, so just to summarize, our Ontario Building Code review required approximately 350,000 liters of on-site fire water storage. And that's because the site doesn't have municipal water going to it. And that also requires a fire pump associated with that fire water tank. So in order to determine if it's feasible to extend the water line approximately 700 meters, we need to review the fire flow and pressure to see if the fire flow and pressure of the water main would be adequate once it gets to the site on Lakeshore Road. All right, so cost estimate. I have the summary here on the screen. The cost estimate was prepared by a professional quantity surveyor, and it's a Class C opinion of probable construction costs, which is approximately 15 or 20% accuracy, and that reflects the high level design that's been completed to date. We haven't gotten into too many details yet, and so that's what's reflected in that percentage. The total estimate is ending up at $9.37 million. As you can see, it's circled in the red there, which is around $643 a square foot. This may seem high initially, but it is in line with industry trends and costs that we've seen to date. And that's a result of prices from COVID still haven't, they're never going to drop back. Also tariffs and market uncertainty. And the cost estimate also included the fire water tank and pump system, which is an estimated $1 million, as well as septic and well, and the firewall construction. So we'll go through a division breakdown on the next slide per major subtrades. However, I just want to point out the design contingency at 15%. Again, that's the high level nature of the design right now, as well as the 2.5% escalation. That's accounting for a tender of the contract documents in the fall. There's no soft costs included in the 9.37 million. So this is pure construction costs, doesn't include design fees, HST, permits, or anything of that nature. So here we have the division breakdown per major subtrade. So you can see concrete costs at about $340K, masonry, so concrete, that'll be the foundations, masonry $330, metals, which would be your steel in your building, at $590,000, thermal and moisture protection at $900,000, and then a couple other key costs, mechanical systems at $1.3 million, and civil works, so that's all the site works, at $2.4 million. I just want to, we've worked closely with the project team to identify what the design needs to be. So there's no fancy architectural elements. It's pretty bare bones. There's nothing excessive about the design. It's as simple as we can make it. It's pure functional durability, utility. So we did do an analysis of pre-engineered buildings versus traditional steel. The building that we've shown to date is a traditional steel structure. So that's your regular column I-beams, steel joists. Pre-engineered buildings, what we're seeing recently in our comparisons is that there's no significant cost savings or schedule savings with pre-engineered buildings. Because of the recent industry trends and market changes, we've done multiple comparisons, not only for this project, but for past projects as well. And they're ending up at about the same cost or even more, especially when you take into consideration other Other things that are required when you do a pre-engineered building, such as mechanical, structural supports for mechanical ductwork and additional loads, that need to be accounted for in pre-engineered buildings. The pre-engineered building also didn't allow for easy future expansion, so a traditional steel structure is a lot easier to expand on in the future to have work bays that would be open to each other. Yeah, that's it for that.
Yeah, so looking at next steps, the next step is to continue advancing the project in a structured way, starting with that 30% design stage for June of this year. This phase further develops the concept, refines the building, systems, and site layout, and allows costs and options to be better tested before detailed design. As part of that as well, we'll be doing a Class D cost estimate, which will be a little bit more accurate than the Class C, which represents plus or minus 15 to 20%. Following this, we'll move into detailed design with full construction documents targeted for October 2026, followed by a tendering period from late October to November. This would allow for some pretty competitive bids since it's outside of the normal tendering season, which is January or February. So we can hope for some hungry contractors there. Construction is anticipated from early through fall 2027, with substantial completion targeted for the end of next year. This accelerated timeline is driven by the need to decommission the existing public works garage by the end of 2027, as identified through that building condition assessment by Chillick Engineering. Overall, the schedule balances the urgency of replacing the facility with appropriate review at each stage and ensures decisions remain well informed as the project moves forward.
That's it for the presentation. I'm happy to field any questions that you have.
Mr. Stevens.
You had mentioned the firewater storage and the comparison to putting in the extended water and sewer. Now, in your opinion, if we were to go with the extended water and sewer, does that open up grant possibilities to the municipality? Because now it's a service building, which we don't have if we just proceed this way. So the cost is about the same of putting in the water and sewer as compared to the new septic bed and everything else that can. So do you see a benefit to that? And I think that's another sort of a question for staff too then, after your answer.
Yeah, and that's something that we did review with the team, the possibility of having additional funding or grants to extend the water line for servicing. So that's something that's still being reviewed with the team, but we do see that, I think Rose did identify that there was possibilities for different funding for that as well.
Okay. And then would that then qualify the building for grants to the municipality? Because now it does have water and sewer, which is part of most government grants.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it would open up any additional grants. However, it would allow, so right now the fire water storage that we've calculated is only for the building as it is now and not for the future expansions. So one of the main advantages too of extending the septic and the water line is it would allow for the future expansion without adding even more fire water storage or other servicing on the site. But in terms of grants for the building being serviced, I'm not sure. So that's something we could review with the project team.
And if I may, it would be theoretically a far sight easier to get federal/provincial funding under the world of infrastructure, new infrastructure, improving, bringing water down and sewer down the road, regardless of whether we actually bring it to other houses or not. Just the fact that we're extending the water and sewer line, we'd have a much better chance of getting infrastructure funding than we would if we said we're just putting up a water tower. So I mean, the truth is from a funding perspective, we'd have a much better chance of getting funding for doing the water and sewer.
That's what I thought. Yeah. Okay.
The other thing of note as well is by having municipal water and sewer, we now have pottled water at the shop. Right now, we're doing bottled water for the staff. The water is not usable for any showering or cleanup. And so that would be a huge advantage too, where this new facility would not be required to have on-site water treatment out of a well system, and that's extra maintenance and time and a cost to maintain those systems, where this would be directly coming from the water main, right, which is treated. And then yeah, the savings just in the not having to buy cases of water every week, right? So,
and I would like to also Caution council, excuse me, that this is still dependent on getting a water flow test to see whether or not our pumping station can actually physically pump the water to the building. Because it's the farthest part on the line. We haven't done any testing yet to determine whether or not it is possible for Aqua that, is their pump strong enough to accommodate that? So
And testing is being.
right now, we're talking on the assumption that it's a do or don't, but we have to go through that test to make sure that a do is even possible.
Do you not have a substation that would alleviate that concern?
Yeah, I think everything's possible and on the table right now. We just need to review the feasibility of, first of all, extending it and seeing if the flow is adequate, and if it isn't, we'll have to evaluate other options to see if there's anything else we can add. And that would still make sense. Yeah,
I think we did look at it years ago, and I think the flow was possible, but that was years ago,
yeah.
so.
Councilor Scott.
Yeah, I know of a number of facilities, they're fairly large, and this water storage is for fire suppression mainly? Is that what it is for?
It's for firefighting, so if there was ever a fire, it would have a hydrant on site. The tank would be hooked up to a hydrant or fire pump, and then the fire trucks would be able to hook up to it to fight any fire on the site.
I know a number of facilities, they just drill extra wells and it satisfies the fire suppression. So had you, and I don't have any information of how deep that well is, how many liters per second or gallons per minute it can produce.
Yeah.
And as far as potable, any well can be potable water. So have you considered that, like extra wells drilled?
Yeah, so it is a substantial amount of water and liters per second that need to be generated from this. From our experience, we haven't seen any well being able to produce that capacity or that flow requirement from the building code. So we haven't done a well test to check the pressure, but we basically determined it unfeasible from the start based on our past experience.
I know a couple of facilities, they've drilled a number of wells to satisfy the quantity of water needed for fire suppression.
Yeah, so it is something we could potentially look at and evaluate as a team. If we, depending on if we further pursue this servicing strategy and extending the water main, we could do a well capacity test and pump test at the same time to see what the actual yield is on the current well and see if it's feasible potentially to drill more wells on the site.
The other question I have is the existing square footage, it was probably there, but I haven't had time to go through the whole document. We have 14,000 square feet on the new. The existing is about, with the sand field, is it about half of that?
Yeah, I don't have it offhand here, to tell
I think it might have been 60 to 70. I think the existing building is approximately 60 by 70 for the works or for the roadside. And then I forget I think it's like 30 feet for the maintenance department.
Yeah, it's not really.
But yeah, the existing roads department side is, I believe, approximately 60 by 70.
Right,
Right now, the maintenance department is storing equipment in 4 locations
right.
as well, so there's a lot of time, travel.
I was
maintenance
just
of the
asking
buildings, heat.
the footprint
Yeah.
that you've got now compared, and looking at the diagrams, if they're what do you call it, the ratio, it looked like about half, like this new one will be double the size. Does that sound right?
I haven't square footage, sorry.
I guess what I'm getting at is with that large of an area, and we've got 6 bays and 2 bays, have you considered doing accessory covers? They'd be secured. Half of our equipment is seasonal, and that's roads and maintenance, both. So half of that is seasonal. those could be rotated as needed. And an accessory, a large accessory building, of course, you've got one there for sand, but I mean, something different than that, obviously. Not paved, not concrete. But it's waterproof, ready to go. Soon as the season comes, it moves out and the other winter seasonal moves in. Have you considered that? What it would do is reduce the footprint that's there already. And with that kind of square footage cost, it'd be substantial. Like I'm talking maybe like a 4-bay, maybe a larger bay than that for maintenance, but not just a 1-bay, but maybe a fraction, something of time and a half with a 4-bay, and then use the storage for seasonal.
Yeah, so some of that was discussed and considered with Ron, especially on the work bays, the drive-through work bays, and some of that will still need to happen. So not all of the equipment that Ron has, and maybe Ron will fit in these 3 drive-through bays, so there will be some seasonal rotation already. We did talk, I think, a little bit about a coverage structure that might be able to accommodate some equipment, but wasn't really the focus of this exercise. We wanted to generate a building that would store the equipment for its current operations. And again, this will still require some seasonal changeover from our understanding.
So even rotating the equipment seasonally, our winter equipment will actually not even fit in those 6 bays.
That's right.
Councilor Mitchell had a question.
Yeah, I did. Go back to water and sewer. You were talking about tanks and all that again. I just sort of, to me, it's sort of limited and it's sort of, you either have that volume of water and once you're out of that water, if you're still on fire, sucks to be you. If we were able to get the grants, we would be extending our water and sewer to that area, but not just to that area, but to all the homes in that area. Has there been any cost division? Because like right now, I think what it's doing is charging everything to this project. But at the end of the day, it would benefit, I don't know how many homes are down in that area, but they would also pay.
No,
They would benefit for the expansion.
there's no homes in that area. It's all vacant land.
We're behind the
Farmland.
yeah.
I mean, yeah, if you want to keep on going all the way to the lake, yeah, but to the road shed, the only building is
That's what I'm
Tan's
talking about, that area.
garage.
That's what I'm talking about, that area going from that corner down towards the lake.
Yeah, well, that would be a lot more money
Oh, no.
to extend all the way down that way. But just to the road shed, is only 11 meters or whatever.
My question was to
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we did again talk with the project team about its advantages in getting grants and extending to different properties, adjacent properties. Part of our feasibility review is not to see if it has enough flow or capacity for other sites, but just for this site. However, it was considered in trying to find other grants or things like that, its advantages for the rest of the community.
And to be fair, at this point in time, even if you had future thoughts to expand that water and sewer down as far as you want to go, we would still be on the hook for trying to come up with the dollars to pay for that 700-meter distance between the last fire hydrant and the hall. And that piece that we're looking at today, which would be replacing the water tower and septic bed, that part would have to be considered as part of the cost of this project, just because it's neither or. You're either having the water tower and the septic system, or you're having the water.
But if
Either way, you're on the hook for $1 million plus.
Yeah, but if there was any thought of doing that, then it may be prudent to put a substation in before even thinking about going any farther, because if you're going to go farther down, then in the future, then you're probably gonna need a substation to push the sewage in.
That's a valid point, if you're thinking about future expansion, and now would be the time to think
Now's
about
the time to think
substation,
about it.
if you were gonna do it, yeah.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
Just one more. I think you're quite familiar with the stats on population increases in our municipality. Projections for the 10-year, 20-year, I think it even went out to 50 years, I think, didn't it? And you're considering this as about a 50-year viable project, right?
The lifespan of the building, you mean? Yeah, 50 to 75 years typically.
So our 20-year is 16%. And where I'm going at is, you're talking about preparing for expansion. We're probably double the space right now that we had before. Talking about expansion and putting that firewall up. I'm just wondering what, if 40 years comes from now or 30 years and we need expansion in that 30 years, what would be the cost savings, obviously, for doing that firewall, but putting that firewall in 30 years from now? But I have a bit of a hard time doing that cost. I forget now what the cost of the firewall was, but it was significant.
Yeah, I mean, there's typically an escalation on construction costs right now at this rate of 4% a year, 4% increase per year we're seeing, and some of that's been even higher in the recent years with COVID and tariffs. That's essentially the escalation factor you'd be looking at. So if you're building it in 30 years, 4% a year does increase their cost by a bit. Not sure if that
Yeah,
answered your question.
The sprinkler system.
it's a theoretical question, really. We do know that there's evidence and projections that are valid, 16% increase over the long term. Does that justify the expansion, the foreseeable expansion, the money put in to see expansion sometime in the future?
Yeah,
Theoretical.
I mean, the expansion in talking with Ron specifically will likely need to happen sooner rather than later, and that's just to accommodate current operations, not accounting for future growth or a larger fleet. It's just to accommodate the fleet that you have right now needs those 2 extra work bays, and likely the next 5 to 10 years we discussed.
Adam, you had something you were saying?
Yeah, not that I'm advocating for or against either option, but just to point out that right now, if you put the firewall in, if you do decide to do future expansion, you're still considering 2 separate buildings from a fire code perspective. If as soon as you don't have that in there, that firewall in there, now you'd be looking at having to either introduce a sprinkler system if you expand, or you'd have to demo the wall and put a firewall in there to get yourself back to having those sprinkler. So if you chose to not put the firewall in now and you expanded, you'd be looking at either a sprinkler system or rebuilding a firewall at that point. I just want to bring that.
Yeah.
bring that
Yeah, the
up.
big question is if.
The big question is if, and if nothing is a given, and like I said, I'm not advocating for or against either option.
And again, I'll have to review the water, the feasibility of extending the water main to the site. If it's not feasible to extend that water main, then it's not feasible to install sprinkler systems in the building. And if there's any desire for future expandability, we would really advise to introduce that firewall, because the work bays do need to be open to each other for operations. If we do get water to the site, then it's a little bit easier to introduce a sprinkler system now or in the future. So again, that's why those 2 things are linked. The servicing and the firewall are really linked, depending on what comes out of our studies and feasibility review of the servicing.
Any other questions from council?
Just a comment, maybe, Mr. Chairman, well, by using the water and sewer system, you're also saving a lot of extra room that's going to be used up with your wells and fire tanks and your sweeping bed, your septic bed. But to me, it makes sense that you do it right first time, plan it out and make the best use of the facility that you have there.
Anyone else? That's pretty much it for now. Do you have any questions of council?
I don't think we do at this time, no.
None of this time?
Thank you.
Ron, any more input on this?
I'm good, thanks.
All right. Yeah,
Just a comment, 2,200 population and 1,300 residents. 9.5 million is a lot of taxpayer dollars.
Yeah, I know, and again, we did work closely with the project team, knowing that the cost was going to be an issue from the outset, and removing those work days, and we're really bringing down the building design to its bare bones. And we're still ending up at a cost of 9.3 million. Unfortunately, it's where the industry is at the time, and we're hoping through, again, reviewing feasibility of service extension and removing the fire water storage and some of these other elements might reduce the actual project costs. But it's still all on the table right now. I appreciate that comment for sure.
I'll just
Just one more comment.
Yeah.
That being said, Dale, we still do have the most roads pretty much for any municipality on the island that we maintain. And our roads department gives us roads that are pretty damn good. So all we're gonna do is get more roads in the future, not less. We'll be looking at that sometime in the future.
Good. Denise, where does that leave us at this very point in time?
Well, we need to know if we are going to continue on. So you can make a motion to accept the report as presented, and that we move to the next phase.
A motion that we accept the report and move to the next phase.
Okay.
What is the next stage?
So the next stage is to complete 30% construction documents, which I believe council has already approved.
In the budget,
yeah.
We've already budgeted it.
Yeah, so we'd be proceeding to 30% construction documents and completing a Class B cost estimate, and that's the next stage.
So we have a motion. It's Councillor Stevens. Do I have a second for that? Richard, thank you. Any opposed? All in favor? That is carried. Thank you very much for coming out to see us and for
Thank you.
explaining it.
Well, thank you. Good luck with all the flooding.
Can't you solve that for us too while you're here?
I mean, we did go. Definitely.
Safe travels back to Sudbury.
Yes,
Thanks for coming.
Thanks, everyone.
Watch out for your.
Yeah,
Oh, there's a bunch.
I haven't seen much on that.
You're good. Thanks.
Okay, as we move on, there's no old business. So we move on to item 7, new business. And it's sort of the right, yes. Bring your own food.
I don't know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Terrible building. I don't have some houses and everything going together. That's something that I'll be honest with you. Thank you guys, appreciate it.
Great, new business.
That's it for us.
I don't know, who wants to start this conversation on it?
I always got in trouble for
Yeah.
I thought you were the one that made it up.
I'll make up everything.
Moves.
BYOB.
No,
Councillor Scott.
not on the committee. I think this would be an absolute wrong decision to have tailgate parties on our municipal property, at our events where children are, and like totally uncontrolled.
I don't necessarily think that that was the intention of it, because it does say that the municipalities need to pass bylaws with respect to it. It just allows for events to allow bring your own. These events will need to be permitted, so it's not free for all.
So Denise, would we have staff maybe draw up potential rules, regulations pertaining to BYOB?
Well, one of the requirements of this is that municipalities need to draft bylaws. Rather than reinventing the wheel, I would like to maybe pause for a little bit and allow some other municipality to design this bylaw that we can utilize then. So we can accept this for information, but please understand that the provincial government has requested that we do prepare bylaws for it. But I would like to see some bylaws for some other municipalities to see what they have done first.
Okay, can I have a motion to accept this report for as information only?
Yeah, should have done it, don't you?
I'll second that.
Thanks, Rose.
Can I make a comment though?
Sure.
Dale, I agree with you. And I don't see why we have to do anything with it.
That's my question. Why do we even have to consider about it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I agree.
Bylaw can simply state we prohibit.
Yeah.
Not gonna be a bylaw. If I have to create.
If I can provide just some feedback, so. We're already having a hard enough time as a maintenance department managing alcohol in our facilities. Right, we had a report from the bottom return, there was 600 empty cans from dressing rooms from the hockey tournament. Those 600 cans, and those were not from the bar. And that's from one weekend, so. We don't know if that's all from the hockey tournament, but all of a sudden in one weekend, there's a lot of empties showing up. All in small little black bags, which seems kind of odd. Why would people bring in black garbage bags of beer cans? So I know we're having a hard enough time in the regular season when it's not a hockey tournament, having guys not bring alcohol in the dressing rooms. The old boys club, it's the way they've always done it. Guys have a game, have a beer, go home, right? As soon as you allow this, how does staff control and manage what's happening inside? You know what I mean? So,
Councilor Mitchell?
I'm sort of with Dale on this and Rose. This is just sort of good luck. And if you're an organizer and you can't control all the access of alcohol, and all of a sudden you have alcohol coming in from other sites that are legal, and you're the one that gets charged if there's an accident because they came from your facility, then this is not explained here. So yeah, okay, accept it, but I'm not ready to say anything else but that, accept it. Yeah.
So, Adam, can we just say no, done?
You can write a bylaw that says just about anything. I mean, if you're writing a bylaw that says, we as municipality, Central Manitoulin forbid to have, people to bring their own alcohol on the property, that is in fact a bylaw. It's not the bylaw that the province would like, but it is a bylaw.
So can we
You'd have to ask Denise specifically whether or not that would be legal. I'm not sure why it wouldn't be.
can we also make a motion on that, saying we'll accept the report and then we'll do a bylaw saying not acceptable?
I think, Mr. Chairman,
Sorry, go ahead, Richard. I apologize.
I think, Mr. Chairman, we've made our position by not supporting this. I don't even think we need the motion that was made. We don't have to make a motion and we don't have to agree with the government's view on something. And I say we've got a system that's in place now. It's worked well, it's working well. Why upset the apple cart with something new?
So, we just mark this as received.
Mr. Chair, so staff are currently under the alcohol policy review right now. It's near the telling of the comment period. So before we bring back the final draft to council, we could add a line item in that draft policy right now that says nobody's allowed to bring booze on municipal property. It's already there, but we could have it in bold, if that's the wishes of council, or we can just leave it as the current alcohol policy right now, where currently right now, you're not allowed to bring alcohol in any public place.
Unless it's a license.
Unless it's a licensed event, that's correct.
Keep it simple, just keep away from this.
Yeah, I just would.
Can we entertain, I'll ask council, can we entertain a comment from,
Somebody that runs a lot of events, I don't have a problem having a comment.
The comment I would make is that you have an opportunity to take control of the situation and control the situation. So being the president of the Agricultural Society and the Curling Club, where we have now alcohol at our events, we control the situation. so that you don't have to lose control of these things, because you already have illustrated that it's all out of control now. So if you set some guidelines up that you could patrol, might cost a little extra staff to patrol some of these events that you have on your public properties, but you are now in control. And that's all I'm saying, is that you have an opportunity to have control of these events, because they're gonna happen regardless whether you like it or not. But if you set some guidelines, people will follow in with these guidelines, and then you now have control of it. And if somebody did get out of the line, you set the guidelines, and you now have the opportunity for disciplinary action, and they don't get away free. So that's all I'm saying. Thank you.
So just so everybody knows, Jack was president of the Ag Society and the curling club.
I value Jack's opinion. We had an issue last year with the ball tournament, and we had people tailgating in the municipal parking lot. We get the OPP involved. People just thought it was an open practice, right? So
Yeah.
I think we have a comment from our interim project coordinator, Rose. Rose, are you there?
Yes, I just wanted to put in that I'm looking currently at the circular from the Ontario government, and one of the statements in the circular is that municipalities will be required to pass a bylaw authorizing the use of alcohol in public if they do not already have one in place. So, and to establish a local process that would determine whether an event qualifies as a community or cultural. So I think we're going to be a little hand-tied in that we cannot completely prohibit it. We could maybe severely limit what types of events we would allow this at, but I don't think we can blanket prohibit it.
Councilor Steve.
One of the problems that I see here is if we start bylawing it, then we're the ones that are required to police it.
Yep.
Whereas alcohol in public is a provincial offense. And that way you can call in the OPP, which would take care of it. If we start making bylaws, then we would be the ones having to police it.
Anyone else? Here.
The events and coordinators, as Jack has said, they're the ones that are responsible. They get the license. I disagree that we have to do everything the government tells us to do. If we went to the other municipalities and asked them, what are you doing about this perceived bylaw that the government wants to run down your throat? I'd like to find out, and I'll bet you there's a lot of municipalities in this province will go against what the government is saying. And I don't agree one bit that every time the government tells you to do something, that you have to do it, because in my opinion, this is wrong. This is a wrong direction from the province. And we should not go down that road.
No, I agree.
And I don't think we're gonna all end up in jail.
Okay, yeah, I'm with you.
So let me.
Mr. Chairman.
Yeah.
I'd just like to comment on Dale's comment there. And it says right here in this letter that we received, our government is always working to find new ways to empower local communities. And then they turn around and say, but we're gonna tell you what to do.
Denise, would it be all right if we, as council, just mark it as received?
Yeah.
And leave it at that until something else further is developed on this?
I think that's a good idea, but like Rose said, we may be required to pass a bylaw that puts some regulations into place. But like I said, I would like to see what other municipalities are doing. I believe this is going to be a topic of discussion at the Phenom conference as well. So I don't think it's really imminent that we pass anything right now. I would like to use a wait and see approach to see how other municipalities are working at this, and then we can bring that information back to council.
So can we have a motion for that effect?
Yes.
Richard?
So we have a motion to accept for That's information that's already been done. If you wanna amend that.
Oh, is it already been done?
Yes, it has. If you wanna amend it.
Who is the?
Derek, sent it forward and Rose seconded it.
Okay, so all right, okay.
That was your discussion.
That was our discussion.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now you can call.
Do we need to amend it or are we happy with that?
We just accepted it for this.
Okay, sure.
What did you do with that motion then?
Call the motion?
You got it.
Oh, sorry, I got to finish.
You gotta call a motion. You
Oh, yeah,
can't just
so-
leave it on the.
Any opposed? You're opposed, Richard?
Well, I'm opposed to the motion that we do whatever they wanted to do.
We were just.
We never said that, we just accepted it for information.
Accepted for information.
Well, withdraw my hand.
We accepted that G garbage.
So it's just accepted for information. We need us first, we got a first and second. Do we need any opposed? All in favor? Here, okay, on to Whitefoot. We have a report here from Whitefoot, Wagswood. It's a nice report. Where's Rose? I heard of her, she's online.
Rose is on, yes.
Rose, do you want to speak to this?
This is actually a report from our curator in Mwate.
Oh, Milwaukee.
This is coming from the Trails Committee.
Yeah, Milwaukee, is she online?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you want to speak to
Okay.
this here?
Yep, no problem. So I'm sure council remembers the interpretive signage that was made by the WAGS Trail Committee that already got approved, and that's going to be printed and up on the Wagswood Trail this coming year. So the Trail Committee just asked me to write an expanded WAG family history, because what we have on those printed signs is limited due to we have a lot of images on there rather than a lot of written words. So there's going to be a QR code that people can scan on their phones that will take them to the municipal website that has a page for Wagswood Trail. And then this right up here, that's a part of your package, will be what will show up on the website if it gets approved today at committee. So just a bit more detailed than what's on the sign. There was also a request from the Trail Committee to add some historical photos, but I was telling them the web page currently already has some photos of the trail and the different trails on Wagswoods. So I'm not sure if I'll be able to add more photos to what's already there, but that's kind of a different issue. This is just the write-up that needs to be approved by council in order to upload it onto our municipal website.
Thanks, Milwaukee. Can I have take it everybody has read this, can I have a motion to accept this? And allow Milwaukee to go forward with?
I'll make a motion.
Rose,
Yep.
second for that? Oh, Richard?
Yep.
Sorry. Yeah. Thanks, Richard. Any opposed? And that's carried, so, okay. Do
Okay,
you
thank
need
you.
anything else? Okay, you're good to go on with that? Good. We have a report here for a multi-year access plan that's been worked on. There's a fair bit of work that went into this. Does Dave or Rose want to speak to this? I don't know.
I'm gonna pass this to Rose. Rose and I worked on this together, but she evaluated the report. This is to come in compliance as part of our accessibility audit. So Rose, if you're there, you're welcome to speak.
Yes, so we were required to update our multi-year plan. Our last one was 2019, so we do them for every 5 years. So we had to update the last plan to put ourselves back into compliance. And I worked with Dave to go over what has been done with accessibility wise from the last report and what still is required. So I've added that. I've also made it used fonts that are more like reading accessible and tried to make the report as accessible as possible as well. So it's a fairly straightforward report, goes into each facility, what's required. And I believe Denise has forwarded that on to be evaluated, and they seem, the AODA seems to be fine with the report as is now.
Yeah,
Any comments?
I can confirm that Accessibility Ontario did report back and say that the report was adequate and that we fulfilled the requirements of our audit.
Any comments, questions? Councillor Scott?
Yeah, I'd just like to comment how wonderful a job Rose and Dave have done. They've put together a really comprehensive study, and it's so well put together that you can read it and understand, and it's easy. I mean, it's a long report, maybe in some respects, but it's so well done. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Scott. Anyone else? So we need a motion to accept and approve the motion. Did you have something there, Councillor Steve?
Nope, I'm not talking to this one. I'll keep my mouth shut.
Rose, you go first. Okay, we have a second. Linda, thank you. Any opposed? All in favor? That's carried. Move on to, I added, just for conversation to see if I wanted to go anywhere, an EV charging station at one or two of these sites that are going to be missing the bikes that will be charging. Is there any interest from council to this?
I think, Mr. Chairman, that it's going the opposite way with EV these days, and whether we need to be getting on the stream instead of just letting it ride.
Okay, there's no interest. Councillor Steve?
When it first came out, there was quite a few government grants and that out there for looking into charging stations and stuff like that. The municipality never really got on board. We left it to private business, but there's nothing out there now.
Minimal.
Yeah, so.
Okay, Councillor Scott?
Yeah, I mean, I think the one at the arena is a EV charge, and then they're putting one up by the Fresh Mart grocery.
Yes.
So, like, how far do you have to go to get charged, right? If you're a tourist here. Espinal or on, no problem. I talked to the businessman years ago, and even with the grant, he didn't think it was feasible. And he should know.
Good. So I'm just gonna leave that just as is. I don't think there's no interest in it, so we'll carry on to the next item. We have a quote in from Windows for the interpretive system. Correct. Can I have
Did we receive funding for this, do you know, Mr. Chairman?
Not at this point in time. David, would you
like me to speak to this, Mr. Chair?
If you would, please.
Okay, so under the building condition assessments report, this structure was identified for window replacement, energy audit. And so with council's direction in the 2026 budget, we put in a line item of $45,000 for window replacements at the Harbor Center building. We received 4 quotes. We had mandatory site visits conducted, and we had the highest bid of $65,335 before tax, and the lowest bid of $23,900. The highest bid being Patrick Roofing, the lowest bid being Valley Painting. The recommended winner is Urban Windows and Doors at $34,050 before tax. That's to replace 9 windows, triple pane glass, all finishing, ceiling caulking, aesthetics, all in. And that the timeline for completion is June 15th.
Any comments, questions?
I will say it's under budget by $10,000.
Councillor Scott?
Yeah, it is under budget 10, but it's 10 more than double pane. I'd like to ask if Urban gave us a quote on the double pane.
The double pane quote is 34,000. They're updating it to triple pane at no cost.
Oh, okay. The only thing that I have to of a concern or to discuss is there's no winter maintenance, right?
No, there is winter maintenance in that building. All our buildings have winter maintenance.
No, I meant winter public.
So that building is heated with baseboard electric on three separate banks.
Yeah.
And we have a crazy amount of cost through the winter to keep that heat low to ensure we don't have cracking of drywall plaster. The building is winterized. And then we also have a business in there that carries 1/3 of the hydro. And the hydro the last few years has been crazy expensive for heating. This year we installed, he actually helped me, Lance Baptiste, who has the Huron Island time, actually helped me with putting up plastic sheeting and laying down sleeping bags because the windows are so drafty. And the other issue with the windows is they don't work. The windows don't open. There's no way to have cross ventilation in the summer, so it's very hot. The seals are leaking, so it's just due as identified, like I said, in the building condition assessment. And they're a higher grade window. Urban Windows, this is all they do. They do windows and doors. They have a high reputation. They're coming from Sudbury. The other three companies that quoted, they're general contractors. They just order windows and they put them in, right? Urban Windows, like I said, with all the site visits, they were the most competent, most knowledgeable of the job, and that's why we're recommending them.
I didn't get that in the report, so
Yeah.
So during the winter, is it minimal heat that you put in?
Yeah, it's set to 10 degrees.
But what about and the renters, are they in there all winter?
They pay for storage and pay for heat. They run their freezers in the winter time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right. Because the triple pane, the efficiency obviously is in cold weather.
50% increase. Yeah.
So summer, the advantages are a bit cooler, definitely darker windows, and they do insulate a bit for sound.
Yeah.
So my question was, what kind of a trade-off for $10,000?
About 50% energy. That's the difference between two pane versus triple pane.
You know, what I read was anywhere from about 30 to 35%. I've never seen a 50% reduction. Anyways.
For $10,000 payback period, and that's gonna be 5 years or less.
Councillor Stevens?
I'll make a motion that we accept the bid from Urban Windows and Doors at $34,050 and proceed with project.
Do I have a second for that? Richard? Any opposed? That is carried. Okay, thank you very much. Correspondence, we have a letter from the Horticultural Society, Campbell Horticultural Society. I guess basically they're saying thank you very much, but we're moving on to other places, right?
Yeah, so I did meet with the president of the club. We actually helped assist them move their stuff from the building. There's two factors. One is there was concern because they originally were told the building was closing. When this letter came out, it was actually, I believe, the previous council or property meeting where the motion was rescinded. And so you already went ahead and moved your stuff. But the second thing is the Campbell's Horticultural Society has changed a lot with the demographic of where a lot of the members live. So a lot of the members are actually living out towards Evansville and Burpee Mills and Gordon. And so from a logistics perspective, they actually said it was easier to have things in Evansville or Burpee Mills. So I did follow up with them and let them know that, council had rescinded the motion to close the hall, but they said that's fine. They had made the decision, but this was just a thank you. They really appreciated the years of support and the ability to provide storage, and just a thank you to the municipality for what we've done to help them out.
I would maybe have the council suggest that staff write a letter. Oh, thank you very much. That may be an appropriate thing or just?
No, tell them that we appreciate the opportunity to serve them while we did, and we wish them well in the future.
I have informed them that Springville Hall is available for rental, and they might do it for a couple of events later on, maybe for like a flower show, but Burpee Mills or Gordon Hall seems to be the better location for it right now.
So we'll just make that as a direction to staff.
Yep.
Next,
So did you want to accept, did you want to?
oh, I should make a
I'll make a
motion.
motion to accept the letter.
Yeah. Motion to accept the second direction.
Staff,
Rose.
thank you.
Yeah,
Accept, so does Derek and,
Rose,
thank you.
and the direction to staff. Yeah, thank you. As per the mayor. Next, we have Province Bay Agricultural Society email. Yeah, I have a motion to bring that on the table, to the table.
Sure.
Dr. Stevens, second for that. Richard, thank you. Comments, questions? I think it just comes down to maybe they're asking for a meeting. I think it's more than appropriate. I think we just need to set something up. So. Is anybody objectionable to that?
Well, I think the statement there, Mr. Chairman, that we are eager to work collaboratively to find a solution. That's what we'll do, I'm sure.
So. We have a motion to direct staff to write a letter back to that effect.
You want staff to facilitate setting up a meeting?
Yeah.
And you would like to have the chair and the mayor present for that meeting?
Yep.
Okay,
And councillors, of course.
well, you'd have to have a special meeting then, because it's a public meeting.
As soon as you have more than three, I think, right?
I'd do it as a council meeting with them myself.
So do you want to invite the president for the Province Bay Agricultural Society to come back as a delegation?
We could do it that way.
That's one option. Denise, do you have a suggestion here?
Well, I mean, other than gaining perspective from a group, we have not formulated a plan for what were the intentions, the long-term intentions are for the building. So in my opinion, it's kind of like putting the cart before the horse. I mean, it's good to garner some information, but until council knows what their long-term plan is for the building, there's not really much to discuss.
But I think, Mr. Chairman, we can discuss on certainly a year-to-year basis until those answers or questions are answered.
Yeah, I would agree to that.
So is a delegation the appropriate form to have this discussion to say, we're not sure what we're doing just now? Or would you rather do that as a private meeting?
I would think a private meeting.
Okay, so that'd have to be less than three councillors, otherwise it's a public forum.
What they're wanting to do, from what I can read here, is that they want to find a solution to long-range plans for their operation that's been going on for 140 years.
So the direction will be to facilitate, Dave stated earlier, to facilitate a meeting between mayor, one councillor, and the Ag Society. In essence, that'd be the direction of staff.
And they can report back to council.
I guess we'll leave the discretion to the mayor, who we'd like to have his council sit with him.
Yeah.
Okay, Mayor Stevens, is that okay? Just as an update on that topic, April 20th, the elevated platform arrives to start removing the lowy ceilings at both the Minnemoya Arena and the Providence Bay Arena. Tulloch Engineering has been hired to complete a full structural assessment of the building, and that's scheduled to be completed the second week of May. From that time, we'll be able to have a report back to property, hopefully by June. Structural work is an absolute must to extend the integrity of the building, to make sure that it's structurally sound. For Providence Bay, first off, doesn't matter if there's ice in the building or not, we have to make sure it's sound for the use of the public for the other 3 seasons of the year. And for Minnemoya, it's just part of the next step as part of the building condition assessment, and next steps as part of the strategy from the Third Line Studio. The staff are looking at renovation versus replacement versus, so before we can give any real information. We have to get a true structural that was identified 2 years ago, and it's finally happening. So we can report back on where we're at. Because right now we're basically we're running with about a 40% report the last time because they couldn't get a full view. So right, the full always seems to come on both of them. Okay, so that's where we're at right now, and that, like I said, the low lift arrives next Monday. So, okay,
Councilor Scott?
Is it, David, in your opinion, is there any chance of an infrastructural funding to do the Province Bay east ceiling?
No, so the challenge we're having with e-ceilings is e-ceilings are only being put back into older buildings. So when I went out for tender to get pricing, I contacted 5 different companies, and there's one agent representing 3 of them. So they're not, putting low e-ceilings back into these buildings is not as common anymore. So most of them are going now to efficiency upgrades, insulation, and using dehumidification systems. But a lot of them don't have, they're not all barns like we have, right? Like we have some pretty cool heritage buildings. Low E ceilings, they're coming in at a price up to $55,000 to $65,000 to replace them right now. It's on budget. That we had budgeted $80,000 per building to put them in. But the one thing that we looked at was you put a sheeting line like it's existing in Minden Arena now, or do you go to a higher level, like the same one that's installed at Providence Bay Arena, which is insulation sheeting, and it's got higher value, longer lifespan, and it's just a superior product. It's about 30,000 more than sheeting. So that'll be coming back to staff after we are to council after we get the structural report, because we may determine that there's no point putting a low E ceiling in for this fall. We may have to run the season with no E ceiling. It's going to be a pain from the staffing point and to have good ice, but it might be the factor to save that money, get the structural work repairs made, whether it's sandblasting, rust proof, we're not sure right now, and then fix it, do it right. So, yeah.
And what about the Prov Arena? To put that back in, it's just insulating value for the summer, right?
That's correct. So right now we were going to remove the low E ceiling, keep the existing structure that was installed. So the reason why the cost is so much more upfront initially is because it's a aluminum structure strapping that's mounted, and the sheeting is actually screwed and then taped, unlike the sheeting which is hung by cable. So that's better R value. For Providence Bay, yeah, you're helping the R value in the summertime. It is a big investment if you're not going to have ice, right? So it's up to council's wishes. They may decide that it's not worth the investment, putting low E ceiling back in, and use that money for remediation work into the building, right? But I won't be able to give you that answer until I know what we're looking at for remediation work. It could be minimal. We could have a minimal structural work. It could be minimal painting, right? So.
It would be nice to have it by the June meeting and make the decision so that you guys are able to proceed then.
Yeah, that's my goal, because I have to let the installer know, because they're scheduling work now. Right? So.
Yeah. Any other questions? So we'll leave it as staff will arrange a meeting. Okay. And I'm gonna assume that the Ag Society will arrange to have 1 or 2 or 3 representatives come to that meeting. So you'll hear from the office. Anything else on that topic? Do we need to pass anything? Just a direction to staff for a meeting. Next item C, we have a letter from Judith Jones. It was pretty in-depth. Talk about the filter vessel. Can I have a motion to receive that? Rose, thank you. Second. Yep. Alder Stevens. Comments, questions? All in favor? Not opposed? Want to thank Judith for her expertise and her input into the filter vessel. Important to the community and to the island. Next, we have a letter from Stephanie Gray, Public Health Sudbury District, Wagswood Trail. I have a motion to bring that to the table.
Make a motion.
Rose, second. Linda, thank you. I think the letter is self-explanatory. She'd like to become a member of the Trail Committee. Is there any comments? Richard?
Wasn't the trail committee actually looking for some new members?
I believe they were, yes.
Yeah, so this is a perfect opportunity. She knows how to write a resume of her interests and talents, so I hope that she's accepting.
Okay. Councilor
She'll be filling the same position that our last member who retired, was with public health. So she'll be taking her
Nice.
position.
Nice fit. Yeah, okay. Any opposed? Oh, yes, Councilor Stevens.
Is that a committee of council?
It is.
There.
So we would actually have to make a motion then to appoint him.
Yeah.
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
It's just, I think we're in front of the committee. We're just doing a little bit of work for them. They now have a new member, right?
Yeah.
Doug, you want to amend that, say that we accept it as information and motion to support our,
Joining
this, her request, the request?
Yeah,
Motion to appoint, yeah.
motion to appoint.
Yeah.
Any opposed? No, I carry. Yeah, okay, welcome, Stephanie. I guess, we have a letter from Arlene Scott, Pearson Cup Soul Pitch Tournament. We can have a motion for that. The, is that
Make that motion.
Rose, thank you, second to that? Councilor Stevens, thank you.
Mr. Chair, can I speak to this?
Yes.
So I actually had a great chat with Carlene in person regarding this.
Yep.
This year last year at the end of the tournament, they had a very poor turnout with the dance. They've decided not to do a dance inside the arena. So this year they're not asking for any in-kind support from council. They don't have the added cost of renting the arena or running the dance. What they're looking for here is the ability to license, very similar to the Rib Fest, the pavilion. And they're gonna have a DJ and have some live music, meeting the requirements of our noise bylaw and stuff. But yeah, just to try and save on some costs and just have it set up there. They really appreciate talking to the Pearson Committee, really appreciate council's blessing of paying for calcium and lime, and really happy to see that the maintenance of the ball fields being looked after by the maintenance department with the watering and with dragging the fields this year. And so that's a burden. They don't have to worry about bearing the cost this year. That's something we've taken on, and looking forward to working with these groups. Just a quick update, we actually have a meeting with the ball field user groups on Friday here with all the user groups to give them an update on kind of requirements, insurance requirements, and how the booking software works, because this year we want people to book online to be able to monitor the usage of the fields and be able to set up a maintenance plan. So if somebody wants to have the field when it's ready, we have bases out, we have access to the lights turned on for them and stuff like that, right? Last year was really embarrassing coming and seeing people putting water bottles out for bases because they just didn't know the procedure, and we didn't really have the equipment. This year, with the blessing of council, we bought new bases, we have the liming equipment, we have everything we need to be able to do a good job. And the user groups are very happy to hear that. So yeah, we have a meeting Friday, but this is just from them and asking for support. And I think council's in favor, so.
Have a motion to accept the letter.
I think I would,
You did that?
Yeah, it's been accepted.
yeah.
All in favor?
Yeah.
None opposed?
And then, Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion that we declare that weekend a community festival weekend.
I have a second for that motion.
Go ahead.
Richard, thank you. Any opposed? That is carried.
And then I think we need a motion that we allow the curling club to hold a beer garden.
That's correct.
Under the LCBO regulations.
Yeah.
And I would imagine they're wanting the same location
Exactly.
as the,
Fenced in beer garden, yeah.
okay. So,
So that's,
held under all those, conditions, so I'll make that motion too.
we have a second for that motion.
Yeah, because there needs to be an amendment to the alcohol policy,
Yes.
so you need to approve that, yeah.
Richard? Thank you, Richard. Any opposed? Then that's carried.
I might just add, Mr. Chairman, it's nice to see the collaboration between organizations within the community
Yeah.
to hold these events.
Sure. Hold community what?
What's that?
It's the community, it's the Minimuy Friendly Club?
No, but you had a name for it.
Community festival weekend.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Allows me to get the SOPs.
Yeah, I knew there was a name for it, just didn't catch it.
Just, a question to you. Where with the, screen that goes up in the sign?
Our goal is to get it up on the lift garage, as well as the piece of siding that's off the hall. I have a list of projects. We have the lift rented for a month. It was cheaper to rent it for the month. You're already paying to get it shipped here. I am happy to hear though, there potentially is a new company starting up in Village Township that's gonna have lift rentals and excavator rentals and.
I did see some.
Yeah, so they're talking about bringing in syndromes and stuff, so. No way.
We gotta move along here. Okay, next we have financials. So. I have a motion to.
I motion for
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
Second to that motion. Brenda, hold on, good. Okay. Comments, questions?
Just have a couple of observations, Mr. Chairman. I forget what period, it's the total property expenses aren't listed on the page, 10. And it was on to 11 for the water and waste. It just looked like there was a line missing there.
I must have been in the line by accident, I'm sorry.
No. Maybe,
All budget is fine, trust me.
no?
I just didn't see the total.
No.
And there was also one at the total of all expenses on page 14 under the capital. No, sorry, it was under the operating.
Some lines must have gotten hidden. I shall reissue electronically then.
Pardon?
I'll reissue it electronically for you. So, sorry about that.
Any others?
I just want, Mr. Chair, I got one comment. With all what's going on outside here and what's going on in the municipality, what budget?
Hey now, staff are doing their best.
We still monitor the expenses.
I don't blame staff, I don't blame anybody.
We make some, we still monitor.
But I think we spent much time on the budget, where we could have waited 2 months and just picked what we want,
Thank you.
what we had left.
Thank you.
So-
Any, we went through comments, questions, any opposed? All in favor? That is carried. We have no in camera, according to my paperwork, and I need adjournment, motion to adjourn. First and second. Thank you.
Come on.
Linda and Rose and Linda.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd like to bring.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, everybody.
Been a pleasure.
It was 8:20.
Okay.
I'll put it in there.